Hey everyone, we made it to the top 10 of the top 100 greatest currency notes of all time. It was a long time coming, 10 weeks, but we finally did it. We are at the top 10. These are the best of the best. How many do you have? That's the question. We're going to start off with number 10, the $5 Chief Note, the 1899 $5 silver certificate. Now, the Chief Note, one of the most famous notes out there, this one replaced the $5 educational from 1896 that was taken out of circulation for a note that was essentially thrown together. One of the most beautiful notes that you're going to find. It features the central figure of Chief Running Antelope. I cannot pronounce his real name, so I'm just going to go with Chief Running Antelope. And when he sat for the engraving, this was not his headdress, his tribe's headdress. It was actually a headdress of a different tribe, so he was a little bit ticked about that. I'm not sure if he actually sat with the headdress on or if they just did two separate engravings and combined them together. But yeah, for a keynote in the series, what a fatal flaw, having the wrong headdress on there. Ironically, this was the same time period as the Indian head penny. And most people think of it as an Indian head penny, but truth be told, that's just Lady Liberty wearing a headdress. So they kind of botched both references to Indians at the same time. Pretty interesting. Anyway, the $5 silver certificate, this particular one, there's between 6,000 and 9,000 of these out there. And nowadays, in really good shape, uncirculated, these are about $4,000. In very fine, these could easily be 1,500 or so. This one's about 15 in that particular grade. Take a quick peek at the back here so you can see that. Mine's got this little stain on there, but that's okay. That is number 10 on the list, the 1899 silver certificate, $5 silver certificate, the Chief Note. Number 9 on the list is the 1905 $20 gold certificate known as the Technicolor Note. The Technicolor Note, this is the best picture I've got. It just happens to be the cover of one of my other books. The 1905 Technicolor Note got its name because of the bright yellow / gold all over the note. They used the same design for the 1907 and the 1922, but you don't have this dramatic gold background here. You also, I don't believe, have the gold in the 20 or in gold coin. On top of that, with the red and the gold, you get these bright orange hues. Very, very, very cool note. This was the note that started it all for me, not necessarily the Technicolor Note, but this particular design. It does have the small head reminiscent 20 design, which technically is backwards. This note came first, and then the small head $20 bill design continued with this motif. Now, to see George Washington on a $20 note, that's something I had never seen to begin with, and helped get me into this hobby. So that is number 9 on the list. There's about between 500 and 750 of these Technicolors out there, and price-wise, in really nice shape, can easily be 30 grand, 3 grand if you're looking for one that's pretty rough. So yeah, tough note to get a hold of. 1905 $20 gold certificate, the Technicolor Note, is number 9 on the list. Number 8 on the list. This is an 1862 and 1863 legal tender, the $100 note known as the Spread Eagle Note. You can see the Spread Eagle. You can see the eagle. Let me see if I can do that without getting too much glare. Very cool picture of an eagle. And you can see the back there. Almost looks like old style wallpaper, just the way that particular design is. That one is the 1862 and 1863 $100 legal tender, the Spread Eagle Note. There's only between 65 and 80 of these notes out there. Gem uncirculated, you're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 180,000. Even in VG, you're talking about 15 grand if you were lucky enough to stumble across one of these. So that is number 8. The $100 legal tender Spread Eagle Note. Number 7 on the list is the 1896 $1 silver certificate, one of the educational notes. 1896 silver certificate. These notes were designed to help educate the public because the vast majority of U.S. citizens didn't live anywhere near a museum. So by putting this kind of artistry on the notes, you were helping to educate the public. The $1 note features actually 23 different named individuals. And if you know your American history, you are going to recognize many of those names. Not necessarily all are presidents. You've got inventors, you've got scientists, you've got literaries. So all kinds of interesting names can be found on this particular note. Now, this note was called History Instructing Youth. You can see it right on here, History Instructing Youth. And of course, the mother is showing the son the brilliant city on the hill. You've got the Washington Monument, the Capitol, the Potomac River. And if you look real close, there's the Constitution of the United States. So you can actually read that if you zoom in close enough. That's pretty impressive. The back of the note features Martha Washington and George Washington. So there is, once again, another instance of a woman on a note that you probably weren't necessarily aware of. The 1896 silver certificate, there are between 7,000 and 9,000 of these still out there, and can be gotten in decent condition for about $1,000 or so. That is number 7 on the list, the 1896 Educational Silver Certificate. Number 6 on the list is the 1901 $10 legal tender, otherwise known as the Bison Note. Someone actually was calling this Buffalo Bill for a little while, but the Bison Note, $10 1901 legal tender. You can see it does have the picture of the North American bison, and you have Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. Lewis and Clark, I'm sure you've heard of those guys, 2 great explorers who've probably seen more bison than anyone as they traveled across the plains. The bison itself is Pablo from the Washington Zoo, is what history refers to him as. Take a peek at the back here. The 1901, one of the most iconic notes. Well, all of these are, so I really shouldn't say that. But the red, of course, designating the legal tender, and that really makes this particular note pop. There are approximately 3,000 to 4,000 of these that are still out there, and you could expect to pay anywhere from $800 to, let's see, $6,000 if they're in gem uncirculated. So yeah, they can be had, but the more you want to spend, the nicer they're going to be. That is number 6 on the list, the 1901 $10 legal tender, the Bison Note. Number 5 on the list, this is the 1896 $5 educational note. This is the Troublemaker Note, the reason that the whole series got pulled. They forgot to get her dressed. The $5 note features electricity. Now, what most people don't realize is that they made the 1, the 2, the 5. They already had the design set up for the 10. And there were sketches made for the 20, the 50, the 100, the 500, and the 1,000, but those never came to be. The educational note was pulled after only 3 years. You can see the back here. We've got Grant, and is that Sherman? Yep, Sherman on the back, Grant. And of course, the Raiders of the Lost Archangel, as I always call her. Anyway, the 1896 $5 silver certificate, there's approximately 2,500 to 3,500 of these still out there. And in very fine, you're talking a note that's about $2,500. You can get much more expensive than that if you're talking in decent shape. That is number 5, the $5 silver certificate from 1896, the $5 educational. Number 4 on the list is from 1865, actually through 1875. It is the Lazy Deuce. Now, this is one of the national banknotes, called national currency is how they're written on here. But national banknotes, the Treasury had to go and make sure that a bank was solvent. And if that was the case, the bank could put money on deposit. And, of course, they would have notes printed with their bank. This particular one is the American National Bank of Providence, Rhode Island. But, more importantly, this is from you can see right here, 1865 is when these were authorized. This particular one is prior to the 1875 because the charter number is listed here, but it is not listed on the bill itself. Actually, yeah, it's not listed anywhere there. We'll take a peek at the back. No charter number listed on the note at all. That lets you know it's from the very first series. Now, the $2 Lazy Deuce got its name from the 2 laying on its side, and the $2 denomination, of course, is most popular because of horse betting, where the minimum bet was $2. That made these very easy to spend at a horse track. It also made many people believe that $2 bills were cursed because they were used at bad places like horse tracks for bad things like gambling. Anyway, they were considered unlucky, and people would tend to rip the corners off of them to break the bad luck spell. The Lazy Deuce, there's about 2,000 of these that are known today, and they can run $2,500 easy in rough shape. If you get one in really nice shape, you're at 12 to 15,000 without a problem. That is number 4, the Lazy Deuce. Number 3 on the list. This is a 1690 Massachusetts note. The Massachusetts note from 1690 is known as the Come Over and Help Us note. This is the very first note produced on this, well, the way they describe it is in the Western world. That is what makes this one so special. Some of the things about this note, you'll notice that the top edge, now this is a replica, the top edge was intentionally not cut straight, so that was supposed to be a security feature. You could fit the notes inside of each other. Right here, the picture on the bottom is an Indian, and I don't know how well this is going to show up. You're not going to be able to see it, but if I get in real close, you can see that there's this little, it looks like a ribbon. That's actually, according to the book, that is a balloon, and like a comic book balloon. And inside there, it says, "Come over and help us." That's why the note had that particular nickname. Now, these particular notes came in 4 different denominations. All were made on the same copper plate and then just cut apart. And like I said, the crooked cutting was designed to prevent counterfeiting. Even though that seems kind of weak, it took until Franklin came up with numerous ways to prevent counterfeiting that were a lot more successful. There are, estimate number known, 1. So odds are you're probably not going to get this with only 1 known. Price is irrelevant. Whoever has it, and they ain't giving it up. That's number 3 on the list, the 1690 Come and Help Us note from Massachusetts. Number 2 on the list is the $500 national currency from the original and the series of 1875. This one here is the replica of the 1875 version. I know that because you can see the charter number. It was known as the Spirit of the Navy. The reason for that, you have the ship here, and here is the cannon with the anchor right alongside. The $500 national, I think 4 of these still exist. So this is another note that you just are not going to get. Very difficult note to even see. Take a look at the back, the bright green on there, along with the vignette. Let's see what that says there. Surrender of General, oh, no, I can't read it. That's the bad part about having the replicas, is you don't get to read all the fine print on them. But being a national, you've got the eagle on this side, and this particular one talks about, let's see, the Appleton National Bank of Lowell will pay $500 on the bearer on demand from Massachusetts. That's what I was looking for. So you have the Massachusetts picture here, and you've got the eagle on this side. These, like I said, they don't exist. There are 4 of them. You're probably not going to get one. Last time one was up for auction, current value is $1.5 million is what the book says on this particular one. So that's number 2, the 1875 and the original $500 national currency note. And finally, number 1 on the list. This is the 1890 Treasury Note, the $1,000 Treasury Note, also known as the Grand Watermelon. The Grand Watermelon was the first note to ever exceed $1 million at auction. There's approximately 7 of these known. Why are they called the Grand Watermelon? Because they did the back in green, and they tried to make this logo right here, this little area, into the curvature of the zeros, and instead it looks like they created 3 giant watermelons. The $100 note is the watermelon. The $1,000 note is the Grand Watermelon. Now, this upset the designers so much that 1891 they came out with a different version. So yeah, there aren't a whole lot of these in existence to begin with. Even my replica has writing on it. That's funny. The Treasury Note, it says $1,000 in coin, so it was backed not only with gold or silver or copper or platinum. Any precious coin is what would back this particular note. Like I said, being the first note to ever reach $1 million at auction is how it got its claim to fame. 7 of them known, and nowadays you're expecting to pay, well over 1.5 million, if not, I think 3 million was the latest that I heard for one of these particulars. So that one is number 1 on the list, and that concludes all 100 notes from the 100 greatest American currency notes of all time. Guys, thank you very much for watching. It was a pretty tough list to do. I'm glad I was able to put it together because now it's out there for everybody to check on. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you again next week.